Today we're on 460 East, headed to Suffolk, Virginia. Suffolk, established in 1742 by Virginia colonists, is the largest city in Virginia by land area and second largest by total area.
We have about 95,000 people in Suffolk. Well, you go from back then, 3,000 or 4,000 people in the city to 90,000 people in a very short period of time. That's a whole lot of growth.
Hello and welcome back to Living 757. It is no secret that Virginia and especially the 757 are rich in history. But what about the history that you don't learn about in school? Or the history that you won't read about in your history books? Our next guest is a host of a show that you just saw a little bit of called Hidden History, and he is here to tell us all about it. Please join me in welcoming Brian Bullock. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Ashley.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
It's good to see you, too. Now, first off, can you tell me about the Hidden History show?
Sure. So Hidden History with Brian Bullock is a digital-first culture history show where we travel around Central Virginia and in the region and uncover some of the hidden history that you might not know about. So we visit, in the case of Suffolk, we visit and talk about the culture and the city, and then we dive into a history topic that people just may not know too much about. So along with our broadcast partner, VPM, we've been able to travel around Virginia and tell the hidden history from lots of great people.
That is so cool, and it's so neat to be able to learn about all of the history that we didn't necessarily learn about back when we were in school. What made you want to take on this project?
You know, it's as I kind of I'm not a history expert, but I'm a history buff for sure.
Okay.
And it started off with me just visiting and all the historical markers. I'm always stopping to see a historical marker. And I just, I learned how much I didn't know about history. And I said, hey, if I don't know about this history, I'm sure there are a lot of other people who would be interested in the history that, that we pass by every single day. So I thought it'd make a great series.
Right. You're so right. When I was kind of doing my background research before this interview, I learned that you did an episode about the Dismal Swamp, which I live right next to. So I was especially interested in that episode. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, Ashley, that's one of the reasons why I did it. As I was doing my research just around Virginia and the Dismal Swamp, I learned that people who live in the area didn't know. They knew about the Dismal Swamp, but they didn't really know about the history and, the things that have happened in the swamp. There's this beautiful, beautiful piece of land, this huge piece of land with Lake Drummond. But the history in that swamp with the enslaved and the indigenous, not a lot of people really knew about that part of the history. So I wanted to tackle it. And, we met with Nikki Bass, who is a descendant that has indigenous and European and African-American roots. And we got to learn about her family and what it was like to live in the swamp. And
why do you feel like it is so important for people like you and I who don't know about this history to learn more about it?
It's not just about the swamp itself. It's really we learn about the brutality of slavery. We learn about everything that we've learned. But we never hear about really the resiliency.
Right.
We don't learn about the courage of the enslaved in running away and going to live in a place where there's bears and snakes and just the conditions were just unbelievable. And so I think it's important for us to learn that part of that history.
Yeah.
That we don't hear too much about.
It was definitely really cool for me to learn that the Dismal Swamp was part of the Underground Railroad, like literally in my backyard. What do you hope that people will take away from this specific episode and the show as a whole?
One of the things that's happened as a result of the Dismal episode is I've gotten emails and texts and messages that people now say, hey, you know what? I grew up in the area and I know that my family goes back generations. I wonder if I have a connection to the swamp. So
right.
It encourages them to explore. So I'm hoping that this this episode and the series in general will encourage people to explore their own hidden history, starting with their family and then, and even in their own neighborhoods.
Absolutely. Now we only have a little bit of time left, and I want people to be able to watch your show. So where can they find you and the show?
Sure. They can go to vpm.org /hidden history. You can also follow me at Hidden History with Brian on Instagram. And we have some exciting episodes coming up, and I hope everyone can tune in.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brian. It's really been a pleasure hearing about you and your show.
Thank you, Ashley.